My name is Michelle Peterkin-Walker and I'm a local artist from Liverpool 8, and I've been doing a lot of work around community gardens, how gardens connect you to the natural environment, how it helps you for your emotional, spiritual development and well-being, and the idea of how you can understand different things about ecology and living on our natural planet just by being involved in community gardens or gardens that you have at home. Green spaces in Liverpool, unlike many cities, it's got a lot of green spaces like big parks, etc. And there are different pieces of land where there are unused green spaces. So for me, Liverpool has a mix, but it can always utilise them much better than I've seen. You know, some places utilise their green to grow a lot more than we see in Liverpool. So one of the things what I liked about being involved in Granby Community Land Trust, they wanted to make Liverpool 8 the greenest quarter in Liverpool. And basically we had a lot of community gardens. You've got Princess Park, Sefton Park around us, but there's a lot of community garden spaces, like the space that we're in today, which is Granby Winter Garden. So Granby Winter Garden, in a nutshell, was part of the regeneration in the community. They couldn't make a house out of it to live in, so they made a community resource. And because the people around here have always been involved in gardening on the streets, they decided to incorporate this gardening idea in a building. So then they fused the two ideas, regenerating, so they put an indoor garden. So you still had a garden inside the building. It was a community resource, and it basically helped do the regeneration of the building without making it go to waste. So we have, basically I call it the tree house, a tree growing inside a house. So we use it to do workshops and creativity, but also teach people about biodiversity. One of our gardeners in residence is actually a beekeeper, Andrea Q. So she teaches biodiversity in respect of bees, but also plants. So we have workshops, how you can plant share, how you can plant food and grow. So we do a lot of things so that people can learn about plants and just be in a space of a garden. When it's sometimes too cold to be outside, you can still be in this unique building and still enjoy the benefit of plants. The plants, as I said, it's an indoor garden, and it's basically an experiment to see what works. So obviously people have potted plants, so we've got a lot of potted plants. We've actually got plants actually embedded into the actual structure of the building. So some plants have worked, some plants have not, some trees have died and some have stayed here. So it's still a learning curve, like you do when you're growing anything, to see which works. The only thing we haven't tried to do right now with this particular community garden is grow food. But if you look on the outside of the winter garden, the alleyway that is just near us, on the back of it, we have the Bloom and Green Triangle, and they're the community residence group which have always grown flowers and plants for food. So in the lane, they have flowers, they've got fruit trees, and they grow potatoes, and they grow a lot of things in pots. And they were the key also to why we've got an indoor community garden, because they planted on the streets. They put their ideas with the Granby Winter Garden to form this, and then they continue to plant stuff behind on the alleyways, so to keep this whole ecology and biodiversity going, even in urban spaces. And that's what's really key to what they've done here, and hence that's what we can continue to do. Why are so many BME people not involved in climate campaigning? And the European person said to me that climate change is the first world issue, like it didn't belong to us. But climate change affects everyone, it's our whole planet, so naturally it affects us. Sometimes we've got other struggles going on, which sometimes if you're about surviving, you might not think about a climate issue. But on a real tip, I think culturally we always have been. One of the things that when I look back at African peoples or people who live closer in the tropics, they've always lived more at one with the land. They've known how to deal with the land, balance what they take from the land, and I find that it's the other so-called developed cultures that have ended up trashing the land, but it affects everybody. So I think because Europeans have kind of monopolised the debate on that, it would seem like we haven't got an interest in it, or we don't. And now I think the realisation is coming more to the fore about bringing back our cultures, our ways of practicing with the land, to make people see that here's the correct way to live at one with the planet and find balance. What can be done to get more people of colour involved in climate change? Well, firstly, doing more awareness, like you're doing with these documentaries and programming, are key, and getting it out there to people. I believe more funding and grants, like the one I mentioned where it was a grant specifically to help people start off doing ecology things like composting, planting in bulbs. So when you start small, providing outlets and facilities and resources to people to start doing that, because that starts to make your awareness connect on a wider level, because whatever's small happens on a larger scale on the planet. So then you start to work towards that. So I think you've got to channel money into it, do things more within the communities, and generally get also our communities looking at the skills and experiences of and values of their culture, what they've always done, because we've got a heritage of working and being connected with the planet, but we've kind of forgotten some of these knowledges to tap back into their knowledge.